Welcome to Aphra's Artifacts, where we do some archaeology of our own and dig into the queer side of Star Wars. I'm your host, Alia Morgaine, and it's so great to have you here. Well, today we're going to be talking about the Chalhuddans, this awesome non-binary and gender-fluid species from the young adult novel Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray. So I have more questions than answers in regards to this topic, but it's a fascinating deep dive into this very welcome and intriguing species. So the Chalhuddans are amphibious, they're frog-like, they live on Chalhudda, a swampy outer rim world, and they play a super important role in the novel where they essentially save the day in the end. So it's not like this is just a throwaway species. This is an important species, an integral species to the story. And I think that is truly wonderful. And to add to this, to make it even more real, even more important to canon, Leia's very first encounter with C-3PO is him explaining their gender structure. I mean, the first time she meets him is him walking out of the ship and telling her how this species deals with gender structure. Oh my goodness. To make it that important, I think is so cool. So, as C-3PO puts it, the Chalhuddans cycle through 5 different genders during their lifespan, with current personal pronouns indicating not only current gender, but 2 or 3 previous ones, and occasionally the gender they feel most likely to be next. But as our language has no equivalent words, you or they can be used in all cases. So, 5 genders, by definition, non-binary. They cycle through all 5. Gender fluid. And I have questions about this. So what does it mean to cycle through different genders? What is this? What changes? What is cycling? Do the Chalhuddans themselves decide on these genders based on what they feel themselves to be? Or is it a biological imperative which gender is up next in the cycle? So along with that, it's not explained how and if their sexual organs are involved in this, or if it's more about gender and outward appearance / inner feelings. Or is it more about sex and reproduction? So is it more biological or more emotional? What is it that is cycling? I don't know. In regards to pronouns, their whole being is considered past, present, future, which is an interesting take. And so I have a few more questions. As I said, many questions. How many times do they cycle through these 5 genders? How do relationships work amongst this species? What is sexuality like for them? Are they all pansexual? Or, and this was an interesting thought I had, do some have short-term relationships while their partner is going through a specific gender and then break it off once they flow to a different gender? So is there still homosexuality, heterosexuality, or are they all pansexual? I want to know. I'm really interested in how their sexuality works, how their relationships work. And then also, is it a constant cycle? Or are maybe some genders more common in youth and other genders more common in the elderly years? How does that look? Oh my gosh, so many more questions and answers. I provided lots of questions and just a little bit of information, but what information there is, I think is fascinating. It's a lot of food for thought. It is a welcome depiction of gender fluidity, so that's super cool. So when I read this novel and the Chalhuddans came on the scene, I was overjoyed. It was just such a cool thing to include. So what do you think? What are your thoughts? What are your questions? How do you feel about this depiction of gender fluidity in this species, the Chalhuddans? So thank you so much for joining me. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter at AliaMorgain, and peruse my blog at thestarwarsreview.blogspot.com. New content will be released next Sunday at 6 p.m. Central. May the Force be with you.